this time, I'd just like to take a moment to ask a very special gentleman to our body, Rockford Christian parents, family, alumni. He hasn't traveled any small distance coming from Colorado with his sons along with him. But it's our pleasure to introduce a gentleman whose vision and passion for Rockford Christian Schools and Christian education in general. It's our pleasure to introduce our founder, Rex Roth, to the podium today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wrote out what I was going to say, but there's no light here, so this will be interesting. My family is glad to be here. My wife Shirley, who was a great part and influence of starting the Christian school, has been in a nursing home with Alzheimer's for 10 years and no longer knows any of us. But my three sons are here, our three sons, and there's 5 men here tonight who were part of that first school class, and I wonder if they would stand. Could I get you to stand? Those of you who were part of that very first class. Robbie Johnson and Jim and Bob and Jeff Roth and Chris Johnson. We got some others here. All right, that's great. Thank you very much. You are a specially chosen group of people because the Lord has given you an interest and a concern and a love for the Rockford Christian School. And God will depend upon you to help in every way you possibly can as long as you live. Because God chooses people whom he knows that he can use and trust and rely upon. And he has now placed your hands upon this school. And we're so thankful for all of the teachers and for David Bates and Randy Taylor and all of those who have been in areas of administration. For all of you teachers, and some of you have been here as many as 30-some years, and we want to thank God for you. I was a pastor of the Evergreen Covenant Church came there in 56 and loved the people, finished up seminary and was ordained and planned to be a pastor the rest of my life. And then in the fall of 1959, God spoke to me. You know, somebody said, "Are you going to go to Illinois and tell them about your dream?" The Rockford Christian School was never a dream. The Rockford Christian School was not even a vision until later years. The Lord just spoke to me and put it in my mind, and I was never able to get rid of it, resign, and start a Christian school in Rockford. That's all he said. And I could come up with all the arguments, but I love these people, and I'm thankful for this church, and we're seeing people come to know Christ, and we've got a couple hundred children in Sunday school, and I could have come up with all of those things, but I knew that I had to do it. I'm no brave person. I'm not a challenger of things. I just wanted to be a good pastor. And I went home and talked with Shirley about it, and we prayed about it. And we had 3 children, 3 boys. One was 2, one was 4, and one was 5. And we resigned from the church. And I still love those people out there. We resigned and we lived in a borrowed home. And I drove a coal truck and lumber truck for Highland Lumber for the next few months. And then we began to look for a board of directors. And the Lord chose every one of those board of directors. Men like Bernie Reese and Phil Johnson and Roger Olson and so many others said, we'd like to be a part of this. We didn't even know where there were Christian schools, especially grade schools. And we didn't have any land, we didn't have any building, we didn't have any students, and we didn't have any money. They could have called us the mustard seed school, and that probably would have been as good as anything. And I remember at one time saying that we had so little money that we went out had breakfast meetings, and if somebody would say, let's pay for it out of the treasury, we would have bankrupted the whole school. But you see, the Lord taught us that you don't need all these things, you need me. Because the solid rock of Jesus Christ is what we build upon in our lives. And God can provide all those other things. And he did. And the board and I would meet, and I taught school for a couple of years, by the way, just to make sure what we were doing was right. And we would meet and we said, where do we go from here? And we didn't really know. And then we were given 5 acres of land where the grade school is. Now, here's how God works. A Christian man had given 5 acres of land to Youth for Christ in Rockford. And they used to be a very active Youth for Christ. They came to him and they said, we're broke. We need some money. Would you take the land back and give us $25,000? And he said, I will. And he gave them the $25,000, and he gave the Rockford Christian School 5 acres of land. And then we had equity so we could build the first building. There wasn't much curriculum for Christian schools in those days, hardly any textbooks at all. We knew that if 2 and 2 was always 4, God was always the same. And we just tried to follow the Lord's leading in every way we could. And we prayed about a first teacher. And Maris Walcott Black came and was our first teacher. And no one could have done a more perfect job than she did. Later, she was joined by Camilla Carlson and Maud Anderson came and was a part-time principal. And we just trust the Lord for everything that happened. And within 3 years of the first board meeting, we had land and a building and 60 or 70 students. And the school went from there. You see, when God's hand leads us, all we can do is follow. And in the Christian school, the Lord was so far ahead of us that we just chugged along behind because of the fact that we wanted Him to give us that direction that we needed. And we were willing, and we wanted to serve Him, and that was our goal.